but you have to smile and all. Okay. When she edit this part, Amish, once again. When Hi, and welcome to the Career Khoj podcasts, a show where we talk to some super cool people who have had really fascinating academic and career trajectories. Today, we're talking to Nikita Jain. Nikita has always been academically oriented. She got a great score after 10th, went on to science in Jain, Mumbai, after she made the decision of studying engineering in University of Illinois, Urbana Champagne. Immediately after, she was placed in Goldman Sachs, where she worked for a year as an analyst. She then realized that she had a calling towards finance, and after a few experiments with trading, she decided to give her CFA level 1. Went on to do a master's in finance from Cass Business School in London. When she came back, she worked with IIFL, an Indian finance company, for a year. Right now, she is prepping for her level 2 and managing her own portfolio.
This is a student administered program. Our aim is to offer information from other students who have recently graduated. None of this information is to be taken as advice. Nobody in this video or in the team is a guidance or career counselor, nor are we experts in the fields which we have chosen. We do not intend to look down on any career or academic path and hope these stories will be taken in the spirit in which they were said. Our experiences are personal and cannot be universally applied. We hope this video is helpful to whoever watches it and it equips you with some relevant insights. Enjoy.
So, how was your finance experience?
So when you mean when I got into my master's program, how was
Yeah.
that? So I did. It was called actually MSc Investment Management, and it was a really good program because it kind of covers all aspects of a portfolio management and different avenues that there are and how you can invest and how you can judge portfolio managers and stuff. So it was a really good master's program and gave me overall all kind of master's programs from masters in finance to investment management. They're pretty much the same. So more or less the same. I mean, you need to look at the courses, but they usually just concentrate on finance. So yes, it was a good experience. London as well was a good experience. A really brilliant city to live in. So yeah.
What do you do now exactly?
So right now, I used to work with IFL Wealth as a portfolio analyst for their wealth business, and I worked there for a year and a half, and I recently quit that, and I've been kind of managing my own portfolio. So and learning trading. I kind of want to get into algorithmic trading, so I've been learning Python, and
Wow.
I've been kind of reading quite a bit just to understand the whole macro level, what's going on, and even trying to get like I've started studying for CFA level 2, so that kind of gives me a fundamental aspect. So kind of a mixture of things, but yeah, I'm trying out everything to eventually maybe get to algo trading.
Wow, that's really cool. So, when you're saying algo trading and learning Python and all, does your engineering background help you with that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the reason I always actually did want to get into finance even before I went, uh, even when I was doing engineering, which is why I took up the job with Goldman Sachs. I still did engineering and I still don't regret it, and I think it helps me is because it really makes your mind analytical. It really gives you because everything is so quantitative, your mind becomes quantitative, and it actually does like give you you become more analytical, like your mind becomes more analytical, and that skill is needed in finance because like
Wow.
a lot of it is analytics at the end of the day. So yes, my engineering did help. Yeah, so I decided that I want to pursue a master's in finance. So I started looking at I my it eventually came down to two colleges: University of California, San Diego, or Cass Business School, London. So I felt like I probably go to a business school because then I can even build my network
Yeah.
around the because it's a financial center of the UK, and also kind of well connected to the EU. So I felt like to get a holistic finance exposure, I should probably go to London, and even Cass Business School is a good school. So
How did you come to a conclusion on choosing, finance after engineering? And was it a tough transition?
so I was always, I kind of knew I always want to go into finance. So
Okay.
it wasn't, and engineering plus finance is pretty common. A lot of people do it. Usually people do financial engineering after that to get into, like, probably something I should have done if I knew all along that I want to get into algo trading
Yeah.
and get a proper trading job. But I didn't know. But either way, I joined Goldman Sachs, which is uh, the biggest, like, financial company, I guess.
Yeah.
So I started with foreign exchange settlements and operations, and I thought I'll probably eventually internally move to finance or to the securities division at Goldman. But then I kind of moved back to India, and I was like, maybe I should work over here. And then I realized that to get a good finance, to if I don't want to move within companies, and if I want to get a good finance, I want to get into finance, I should probably start with the CFA, because that will at least give me a sense of whether I really want to get into finance or not. So when I
Yeah.
started studying for CFA level 1, I realized that I do have a interest in this, in finance. So I went ahead and I studied for CFA level 1, and then I was sure that I want to get into it, and then I got myself a master's also after that.
Okay. And what really happens in CFA? So you're giving the CFA level 2 right
Right,
now.
right.
And what really happens in CFA?
So CFA has 10 subjects. So I'll just name out those subjects to you so you kind of understand what exactly. So it is kind of self-explanatory if I name out
Yeah.
those subjects. What exactly is this thing? So the first is ethics, like in financial world, how you need ethics, from insider trading and from different kind of points of view. And now there is SEBI, there is the SEC, and there are all strict regulators. So you need to always be in compliance. So
Yeah.
kind of so then there is ethics which covers that. So that's one, kind of a more general one. Now from the studying point of view, there is a whole equity is a subject, talks about how to derive the equity value of a company, is the most easy way to say it. Then there is then we have fixed income, which talks about bonds and debt, and how the yield curve works, how the mod duration works. Then we have the economics.
Yeah.
It's kind of the fiscal policy, monetary policy, talks in detail about that, about currency exchanges. Then we have derivatives, which is options and futures, and
Wow.
how the math behind that, how that works. Then we have quantitative analytics, which is like your T stats, your Z stats, like when you're doing like these basic statistical analysis. So that kind of covers that. Then there is corporate finance,
Wow.
and it is how much a company should, equity, how much debt, should it issue, how should it refinance. It talks about that. Then we have FRA, that's financial accounting. So that doesn't teach you how to make a balance sheet, like how what a charter accountant knows. FRA teaches you how to read a balance sheet and how to
Yeah.
analyze the balance sheet, how to try to potentially spot maybe loopholes, like could this company be kind of portraying something else. And so that's FRA. And let me think, portfolio management. So that's kind of alpha. How do you it's portfolio management is more like, firstly, how do you diversify your portfolio,
Mm.
and also how do you analyze other portfolio managers. If you were to give your money to a portfolio manager to analyze, to manage your money, how to analyze him, whether he's beating the benchmark, and more detailed about that. And
Wow.
last is alternative investments. So that's like private equity,
Hmm.
and kind of throw some light on real estate. And
Oh,
just that's like basic, that's just within alternative investments. So it's a kind of a vast, it's very, very vast. It covers finance completely, and it's a lot of portion, but it really does give you the idea, if this interests you, and then within this, what interests you. So all three levels have the same subjects, they just go deeper and deeper and deeper.
wow. Okay. So I just have one more question, two more questions about CFA. Is CFA like CA or is it completely different?
Completely different. CA is where you literally build your accounts from scratch, right? Where you build your balance sheet, your income statements. In CFA, you don't learn how to build it. You just know how to read it.
So is CFA like a degree or how does that work?
It's it it, it literally says chartered financial analyst. So it's a charter now. I mean, I wouldn't call it a degree. It's not a degree for sure.
Okay.
But it's an institute that issues you the certificate. So it's a whole big community. And then and now, because it's so well known, that when you say CFA, people know that how much you have gone into depth of finance because you've done the CFA. It's become very well known, widely known, but it's not a degree.
Wow. What qualities, features, characteristics you have to choose a degree like finance? What do you have?
Firstly, you really need to like numbers, okay? Because finance is pretty much about numbers. Um, so that is one. Whether you go into finance is very vast, okay? So different, different, like there's investment banking, there's capital markets, then there's literally trading, there's portfolio management, which is kind of in capital markets. So there is so much that they all that but the only thing common between all of them is that you really need to like numbers. That's the main thing between
Hmm.
them. If you then after that, as you go along, when I'm studying these subjects, I realize that i'm I'm not too good at reading balance sheets. I mean, I'm getting it, but I don't enjoy that much. I don't enjoy it that much. So then I know that I shouldn't really go into equity research, because equity research is more about reading balance sheets um, and then trying to analyze the cash flows of the companies and estimating them. So so then like I could eliminate that. But at the same time, I mean, I do like the whole quantitative analytics. Maybe that's because it comes to me naturally because I've done engineering. But I feel like I want to play with data, like
Hmm.
price and volume data, and I
Yeah.
want to try to analyze it through that. That's my skill. So there is not a specific skill set that you I would say that if this is what you require for finance, but you do really need to like numbers, and you really need to be aware of the whole global macro level to
Okay.
actually excel in finance, because now everything is so globally connected. Like all something in the US, a US and China trade war, even our markets get affected. So
Hmm.
you really need to be wanting to know what's going on in the world, and you need to like numbers.
Now, I really want to come to the coolest part. You know, what I really feel is the Goldman Sachs company where you worked for a year. And I think Goldman Sachs company is like a dream company for many.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about your time there?
Yes, so it was, I would say, the best. I was firstly thrilled to have got a job at Goldman Sachs, and I was really and I was in operations. So and there in the US, their operations headquarters is in Salt Lake City. So, but it was a big office, around 5 to 6,000 people. So
Wow.
when I got there right out of college, so we had a whole class of people from different colleges through the US, but everyone was just onboarded together. So for me, it was just a continuation of college, but now I'm working and I'm getting paid. And the kind of training they gave was unreal. They spent so much on training their employees, they on training their new joinees, that it's a great experience for yourself. You really start growing. Goldman Sachs really cares about the growth of their employees, and
Wow.
every time it's always encouraging you to be the better of yourself. So when I went, so yeah, and I the work hours were crazy. It was amazing. But the good part was you really were surrounded with everybody so hardworking that you were only motivated to work hard. Even though I never complained that the work is so much. I mean, sometimes sure I was tired, but I was never frustrated, or I was never like why am I doing this? It was always so dynamic. Every day was a new day, and every time we were learning new things. And also, because it's such a global firm, you're talking to people from Tokyo, you're talking to people from Sao Paulo, and even that gave you a full global expo. Like, I mean, you were still talking to so many people. So all in all, I had a great experience, and yeah, you would be lucky to get into Goldman Sachs for sure. You really need to work hard because they really value hard work. So yes.
And was managing financial jargon and these complex words difficult for you that time?
So I got into operations. Okay, so in Goldman Sachs, when you do get into operations, they kind of hire people from all fields. Even if you're studying English, if you're studying engineering, if you're studying actual
Oh,
finance, if you're studying, so there, because that job needs to be trained from scratch. It doesn't really matter what your sure, if you're a finance major, then you understand better, but they train you from the very beginning. So getting into I if I was given the choice when I graduated, I would want to get into the finance division or the securities division at Goldman. But for that, you needed an actual finance degree. Okay,
hmm.
that's where they really wanted a finance major. But with engineering, I got into operations, and so that's pretty much how I got in. And how did I learn? They train you, they really train you, they teach you everything you need to know, they teach
Wow.
you more than you need to know actually. And they give you opportunities within the firm. They really are, they promote you. Everybody who I worked with, when I just joined and when I was in Goldman, all of them are in different divisions. My one of my closest friend, and who still works at Goldman, has shifted to finance division. She's shifted from Salt Lake to New York. I knew people in India who kind of shifted from the Bangalore office to Salt Lake City office, and then
Wow.
to New York office. So they promote, they promote mobility. So that's the beauty of being in a global firm.
So, how long was your course, and what did a typical day in that program look like?
The course was 1 year. It was a master's in investment management course. It was 1 year, and a typical day looked like any other college day. You have your classes, you have your breaks, you go for some classes, you don't go for some classes, you have exams, you have extracurricular groups, like, I don't know, like basically clubs, and for example, a private equity club, or I don't know, a currency trading club. So there were different, so you whatever, that's when you realize where your interests lie.
Yeah.
Whichever club you kind of join, you are how active you want to be with that club. And yeah, and then you're just on weekends, you're chilling, it depends on what your preferences are. You're sometimes partying, you're sometimes traveling, you're sometimes it's a good, there's so much to do that, and you're meeting different people. So yeah,
Wow. Okay.
that all I learned everything along the way. And for all you know, I'm still just on somewhere on my way to get where I have to. But for now, so one thing led to another, and now I'm just gonna give trading a try. And if
Wow.
I do well, then I'll probably do it. I'll get more clients, I'll onboard clients. But for now, I'll start with my own portfolio, and
Wow.
just try to join these trading communities, try to figure out what they do and how does it work exactly.
So cool. That is really cool, I must say. So,
Mhm.
with that only, I would like to end this. Thank you so much for joining us. Your journey has been extremely fascinating to me, and I'm sure everybody who's watching this is going to love it.
All
We're
right.
going to put we're going to put Nikita's LinkedIn in our bio, so you can connect with her if you would like. Thank you guys so much. We hope this video was useful. Bye.